August 25, 2017. Hurricane Harvey made landfall near Rockport, Texas as a Category 4 monster. For the next 4 days, it sat over Houston and dumped more than 60 inches of rain in some areas. Roads became rivers, homes became islands, and then tombs. Over 100 people died. 30,000 were displaced. $125 billion in damage. But here's what the news didn't tell you. There were families who survived without rescue. Families who had power when everyone else sat in the dark. Families who had clean water while their neighbors were drinking contaminated floodwater. These weren't wealthy people with unlimited resources. They were ordinary Texans who did one thing differently. They prepared. And if you're watching this right now, you need to understand something that could save your life. Hurricane season in Texas runs from June through November, and the next catastrophic storm isn't a question of if, but when. So if you want to be one of the survivors, not one of the statistics, subscribe to this channel right now, smash that like button, and stay with me until the very end, because I'm about to walk you through the exact 30-day preparation timeline that has saved lives, protected families, and given people the power to survive when the Gulf Coast turns into a war zone. Texas isn't like other coastal states. We don't just get hurricanes, we get biblical flooding, catastrophic storm surge, and tornadoes that spin off like bullets from the outer bands. The geography of the Gulf Coast creates a perfect trap. Warm, shallow waters supercharge these storms. Flat coastal plains offer zero natural barriers, and when a slow-moving hurricane parks itself over Texas, it dumps rainfall measured in feet, not inches. Tropical storm. Allison in 2001 killed 41 people and caused $5 billion in damage, and it wasn't even a hurricane. Hurricane Ike in 2008 created a 20-foot storm surge that wiped entire communities off the map. Hurricane Laura in 2020 hit with 150 mph winds that turned buildings into splinters. And scientists aren't sugarcoating it anymore. These storms are getting worse. Warmer Gulf waters mean more energy. More energy means stronger winds, heavier rainfall, and storm surges that arrive faster and higher than ever before. So let's be brutally honest. When a Category 4 hurricane is 48 hours away from your town, it's already too late to prepare. The grocery stores are stripped bare within hours of the first warning. Gas stations run dry. Hardware stores sell out of plywood, generators, and batteries. The highways become parking lots as hundreds of thousands try to evacuate at once. Emergency services get overwhelmed before the first raindrop falls. That's why preparation isn't something you do when the storm forms. It's something you do 30 days before hurricane season even starts. This isn't about living in fear. This is about living with the intelligence and foresight that keeps you alive when chaos erupts around you. Let's start with days 1 through 7, and we're going to talk about the most critical resource on Earth: water. In 2017, a woman in Houston named Maria Rodriguez survived 5 days in her flooded home with her 2 young children. She didn't get rescued by boat or helicopter. She made it because 6 weeks before Harvey hit, she had filled every container in her house with clean water. While her neighbors were drinking contaminated floodwater and getting sick from bacteria and chemicals, her family stayed hydrated and healthy. Water kept them alive. Now here's the math you need to understand. 1 gallon per person per day is the absolute minimum, but in Texas heat, especially when you're stressed and sweating, you need more. 2 gallons per person per day for at least 2 weeks. That's 112 gallons for a family of 4. That sounds like a lot, but it's achievable. Get 5-gallon food-grade water containers and fill them now. Rotate them every 6 months. Store them in a cool, dark place away from direct sunlight. Label them with the date you filled them, but don't stop there. Right before a hurricane hits, fill every bathtub in your house. That's 30 to 50 gallons of emergency water right there. Fill sinks. Fill cooking pots. Fill your washing machine. Use those giant Ziploc bags and fill them with water, then freeze them. They become ice for your coolers and drinking water as they melt. And here's something most people completely miss: water purification. You need backup methods to make contaminated water safe. Stock up on water purification tablets. They're cheap, compact, and they work. Get a quality water filter like a LifeStraw or Sawyer Mini. Learn the bleach purification method. 8 drops of unscented household bleach per gallon of water. Mix it, wait 30 minutes, and it's safe to drink. This knowledge becomes priceless when your stored water runs out and you're forced to use questionable sources. Now let's talk about food, because water without food means you're surviving, not living. Your body and mind need fuel, especially during the stress and physical demands of a disaster. During Hurricane Harvey, a man named James Chen stayed in his home in Beaumont with his elderly parents. The flooding trapped them for 9 days. 9 days. No rescue came. But James had spent the previous month stockpiling food, and not just random cans. He had planned actual meals. He had variety. He had nutrition. He had comfort foods that kept morale up when his parents were terrified. That planning made the difference between surviving with dignity and descending into desperation. Here's how you do it right. Create a 2-week menu. Write down breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 14 days. Calculate calories. Adults need 2,000 to 2,500 per day minimum, more if you're doing physical work during cleanup and recovery. Stock shelf-stable foods that don't require cooking. Canned beans, vegetables, tuna, chicken, soups, chili, pasta sauce. Get peanut butter, crackers, granola bars, dried fruit, nuts, jerky, trail mix, protein bars. Buy foods your family actually eats. This isn't the time to stock up on things nobody likes. Include comfort foods because psychological well-being matters. Chocolate, cookies, candy. These things seem trivial until you're sitting in the dark, listening to 100 mph winds tear your neighborhood apart, and a piece of chocolate reminds you that normalcy still exists. Don't forget the details that trip people up. Get a manual can opener, multiple ones. Electric can openers are worthless when the power's gone. If you have infants, stock extra formula. If you have pets, get 2 weeks of pet food. If anyone has dietary restrictions or allergies, plan for that now. And here's a game changer. Get a camping stove with propane canisters. Being able to cook hot meals, boil water for coffee or tea, and provide warm food changes everything during a disaster. It's the difference between just surviving and maintaining some quality of life. Moving into days 8 through 14, we're focusing on power and communication, because when Hurricane Ike hit in 2008, some areas of Houston went without electricity for 3 weeks. 3 weeks in September, heat with no air conditioning, no fans, no refrigeration. Food rotted, medications spoiled. People suffered from heat exhaustion. But the families who had generators, they kept food cold, they charged phones, they ran fans, they maintained connection to the outside world. They knew what was happening and when help was coming. Generators aren't optional if you're serious about hurricane prep. They're essential. You need a portable gas-powered generator that can handle your critical loads. Here's how to calculate that. Your refrigerator uses 600 to 800 watts. Lights use 60 to 100 watts each. Phone chargers use 5 to 20 watts. A window AC unit uses 1,000 to 1,500 watts. Add up what you absolutely need, then get a generator with 20% more capacity. For most families, a 3,500 to 4,000 watt generator handles essentials. But buying it isn't enough. You need to test it right now. Run it for an hour. Learn how to start it, maintain it, and connect appliances safely. Practice setting it up outside, far from windows and doors, because carbon monoxide kills people every single hurricane season. Generators only run outside. No exceptions. Not in your garage, not under a porch. Outside. Fuel storage is critical. Gasoline degrades over time, so add fuel stabilizer to every container. Store at least 20 gallons in proper fuel cans, away from your house in a shed or detached structure. Know how much fuel your generator burns per hour at different loads, and calculate how long your supply will last. And here's a pro tip. In the days before a hurricane warning, fill up every gas can you own and top off your vehicle. When the warning hits, gas stations have lines hundreds of cars long, and they run out of fuel within hours. But don't rely on just generators. Solar power is your silent, endless backup. Invest in portable solar panels with battery storage systems. They're not cheap, but they charge phones, tablets, radios, and small devices indefinitely as long as the sun comes out. Get multiple battery banks, the big ones that hold $20,000 to $30,000 mAh. Charge them fully before the storm and keep them charged. Get battery-powered LED lanterns and flashlights for every family member. Stock up on batteries, AA, AAA, D cells, and 9 volt. When I say stock up, I mean dozens of each. After Hurricane Laura, a nurse in Lake Charles told me her family went through 50 batteries in 2 weeks because they were running flashlights, radios, and small fans constantly. Communication is your lifeline. When Hurricane Harvey hit, cell towers went down across entire regions. People couldn't call 911, couldn't reach family, couldn't get information about rescue operations or evacuation routes. That's why you need redundancy. Get a NOAA weather radio with battery backup and hand crank charging. These radios receive emergency broadcasts directly from the National Weather Service, and they work when everything else fails. Download offline GPS maps of your entire region, all evacuation routes, and surrounding states before the storm forms. Apps like Maps.me and Google Maps let you download entire regions for offline use. Install emergency apps before you need them. FEMA, American Red Cross, local news stations, and weather apps. Test them. Learn how they work. Print physical copies of important phone numbers and addresses because phones die, get lost, or break. Buy a set of walkie-talkies with 20-plus mile range for family communication when cell networks collapse. If you can afford it, consider a satellite communicator like a Garmin inReach. It sends messages and shares your location via satellite when literally nothing else works. Search and rescue teams have found people because of these devices. Days 15 through 21 are about fortifying your home and creating safe zones. And this is where preparation either saves your house or costs you everything. In 2008, a family in Galveston named the Johnsons stayed during Hurricane Ike against evacuation orders. Stupid decision, but they survived because they had spent weeks preparing their home. They boarded every window. They reinforced their garage door. They cleared their yard completely. Their neighbors who didn't prepare? Their windows exploded. Their garage doors failed, and the wind pressure blew their roofs off. The Johnsons' house took damage, but it stood. Their neighbors' houses were destroyed. Start by walking your entire property and identifying every weakness. Look at your roof. Are there loose or damaged shingles? Fix them now. A small leak becomes a catastrophic failure in hurricane-force winds. Check your gutters and downspouts. Clean them completely so rainwater flows away from your foundation instead of pooling around your house. Look at trees that overhang your home, power lines, or vehicles. Hire a tree service now to trim or remove dangerous branches. In a hurricane, those branches become battering rams that punch through roofs and walls. Clear your yard of everything that can become a projectile. And I mean everything. Patio furniture, grills, trampolines, swing sets, potted plants, garden decorations, trash cans, kids' toys, tools, ladders. Bring it all inside or secure it in a shed. A plastic lawn chair traveling at 100 mph will go straight through a window or your neighbor's window. A loose grill can demolish a car. Take this seriously because in every hurricane, preventable damage happens because someone left something outside. Window and door protection can save your home from catastrophic failure. If you can afford permanent storm shutters, install them before hurricane season starts. If you can't, cut plywood sheets to fit each window and label them so you know which piece goes where. Use 5 8-inch marine plywood minimum. Anything thinner will fail. Pre-drill pilot holes in the plywood and the wall so installation is fast when the warning comes. You don't want to be drilling in 40 mph winds with rain blasting sideways. Sliding glass doors are weak points. Board them on the inside with plywood braced against furniture. Check every exterior door. Make sure weather stripping is intact and doors seal properly. Reinforce door frames if they're weak. And here's the #1 structural failure point in most Texas homes: garage doors. They're large, they're thin, and when they fail, wind pressure gets inside your house and can literally blow your roof off from the inside. Reinforce your garage door with a bracing kit. Or if a hurricane warning is issued, park your car inside and stack sandbags or heavy boxes against the door for extra support. Inside your home, you need to create a safe room. This is where you and your family will shelter during the worst of the storm, and it could save your lives. Choose an interior room on the lowest floor with no windows. A bathroom, closet, or interior hallway works best. Never shelter on an upper floor because if your roof fails, you're exposed. Never shelter in a room with windows because flying glass can kill you. Stock your safe room with everything you need to survive for 12 to 24 hours. Water, food, first aid kit, flashlights, extra batteries, NOAA radio, blankets, pillows, entertainment for kids, important documents in waterproof bags, and a fire extinguisher. Keep tools in there too: hammer, nails, crowbar, utility knife, and a heavy-duty tarp. If your roof takes damage during the storm, you may need to emergency patch it from inside to prevent rain from destroying your home. Have a plan for pets. They shelter in this room with you. Practice your shelter plan with your family. Do drills. Kids need to know exactly where to go and what to do when you give the order. Make it routine so when the real storm hits, there's no confusion or panic. And here's something that cannot be overstated. If you live in a flood zone and an evacuation order is issued, you leave. Period. No discussion. Storm surge is the #1 killer in hurricanes. It's not the wind, it's the water. During Hurricane Ike, the storm surge reached 20 feet in some coastal areas. It came in fast and violent, and people who stayed because they'd survived previous storms drowned in their homes. Emergency officials have said it over and over. If you choose to ignore a mandatory evacuation in a storm surge zone, write your name and social security number on your arm in permanent marker. That's how they'll identify your body. That's not a scare tactic. That's reality. You cannot survive a 15-foot wall of water rushing through your house. Your house can be rebuilt. Your life cannot. Moving into days 22 through 28, we're talking about medical preparedness. And this is where a lot of people fall short. In the chaos and violence of a hurricane, injuries happen. After the storm, hospitals are overwhelmed or unreachable. Roads are impassable. You're on your own. During Hurricane Harvey, a man in Port Arthur named David Martinez cut his leg badly on submerged debris while evacuating through floodwater. The nearest hospital was underwater. No ambulances were running. His wife Sarah, who had taken a wilderness first aid course and stocked a serious medical kit, cleaned the wound, applied quick clot gauze to stop the bleeding, dressed it properly, and started him on antibiotics they had stored. That preparation prevented a life-threatening infection. David kept his leg and his life because his wife was ready. If anyone in your family takes prescription medications, you need to act now. Call your doctor and insurance company and get 90-day supplies instead of 30-day refills. Explain that you're preparing for hurricane season. Most doctors and insurance companies will accommodate this. Keep all medications in waterproof containers with clear instructions. If you rely on refrigerated medications like insulin, you need a solid plan. Coolers with ice packs, a generator with enough fuel to run a small fridge continuously, or knowing the exact location of the nearest hospital or emergency medical facility that will have power. Your first aid kit needs to go way beyond Band-Aids and Neosporin. Build a trauma kit that can handle serious injuries. Include Israeli bandages for heavy bleeding, quick clot or Celox gauze to stop blood flow fast, tourniquets in case of severe limb injuries, chest seals for puncture wounds, SAM splints for broken bones, and suture kits if you're trained to use them. Add burn cream for cooking accidents or contact with hot generator parts. Include snakebite kits if you live in rural areas. Floodwater pushes snakes and other wildlife into unusual places. Stock multiple EpiPens if anyone in your family has severe allergies. Don't forget the basics: pain relievers, fever reducers, anti-diarrheal medication, antihistamines, antacids, and cold medicine. Include a comprehensive first aid manual. When you can't reach a doctor, knowledge becomes medicine. Consider taking a wilderness first aid or EMT course before hurricane season. These classes teach you how to handle medical emergencies when professional help isn't available, and that knowledge is priceless in a disaster. Special medical equipment requires backup power plans. If someone in your family uses a CPAP machine, oxygen concentrator, or any electric medical device, you need battery backups and enough generator capacity to run them continuously. Contact your electric company right now and register as a critical needs customer. You'll get priority for power restoration. Have manual alternatives when possible. If someone needs oxygen, have backup oxygen tanks that don't require electricity. Sanitation and hygiene supplies become critical when water systems fail and sewage treatment plants stop working. After Hurricane Harvey, entire neighborhoods had no running water for weeks. Toilets didn't flush, showers didn't work. People got sick from poor sanitation. Stock toilet paper, a lot of it. Get wet wipes, hand sanitizer, antibacterial soap, toothpaste, toothbrushes, shampoo, feminine hygiene products, diapers if needed, and heavy-duty garbage bags. Invest in a portable camping toilet or create a bucket toilet system with bags and chemicals. Plan for waste disposal when trash pickup stops for weeks. Bag everything, seal it, and store it away from your living area. We're at days 29 and 30 now, the final preparations that tie everything together. This is about plans, documents, finances, and making sure you can execute everything you've prepared when the storm warning is issued. During Hurricane Rita in 2005, a family from Houston tried to evacuate but hadn't planned their route. They ended up stuck in traffic for 18 hours, ran out of gas on the highway, and had to abandon their vehicle and walk to shelter. Meanwhile, their neighbors who had planned multiple evacuation routes made it to San Antonio in 5 hours. Planning makes the difference. Know your evacuation routes, plural. Texas highways become parking lots during evacuations. Have your primary route, a secondary route, and even a tertiary route planned. Study them now, drive them if possible. Know where the exits are, where gas stations and rest stops are located, and what alternate roads exist if the highway is gridlocked. Keep your vehicle's gas tank above half full during the entire hurricane season. When a storm forms in the Gulf, top off immediately. Don't wait. And here's a critical detail. Practice loading your vehicle for evacuation. Time yourself. Figure out what goes where, how everything fits, and what you're taking with you. Have cash on hand because ATMs and credit card systems go down. Withdraw $500 to $1,000 in small bills before hurricane season starts. 20s, 10s, 5s, and 1s. Store it somewhere safe and secure. After a hurricane, many stores that manage to stay open can only accept cash. Gas stations, convenience stores, and emergency supplies, cash becomes king when digital systems fail. Make copies of all your credit cards, IDs, and insurance cards. Store the copies separately from the originals. Important documents need protection and organization. Get a waterproof document bag or a fireproof, waterproof safe. Include insurance policies for your home, auto, health, and life. Include property deeds, birth certificates, social security cards, passports, marriage licenses, medical records, vaccination records, bank account information, investment account information, and photos of all family members. Take photos of every room in your house and all valuables for insurance claims. Photograph serial numbers on electronics, appliances, and expensive items. Upload everything to secure cloud storage too, so you have access even if your physical documents are destroyed. Vehicle readiness means doing a complete maintenance check before hurricane season starts. Check your oil, tires, brakes, spare tire, battery, and coolant levels. Make sure everything is in good working condition because breaking down during an evacuation or in the aftermath of a hurricane can be deadly. Pack an evacuation bag that stays in your car. Water, non-perishable food, blankets, first aid kit, flashlight, batteries, phone chargers, maps, change of clothes for everyone, rain gear, and sturdy shoes. Keep jumper cables, basic tools, a tow strap, and fix-a-flat in your trunk. If you have pets, their preparation is your responsibility. Dogs and cats don't understand what's happening, and their fear can make them unpredictable. Stock 2 weeks of pet food and water. Get a sturdy carrier for each pet that's large enough for them to stand and turn around. Have leashes, collars with ID tags, medications, medical records, and recent photos in case you get separated. Research which evacuation shelters accept pets and which don't. Many don't, so you need backup plans. Identify pet-friendly hotels along your evacuation routes. Have phone numbers for veterinarians in the areas where you might evacuate. Neighborhood coordination is something that separates prepared communities from chaotic ones. Before hurricane season starts, connect with your immediate neighbors. Exchange phone numbers and create a group chat or email list. Share your plans. Find out who has medical training, who has construction skills, who has tools, who has boats or trucks, who has generators with extra capacity to share power for critical needs. Identify elderly neighbors, people with disabilities, or anyone who might need help evacuating. Make sure they have plans and someone checking on them. After Hurricane Harvey, The stories that inspired the nation weren't just about first responders. They were about neighbors with boats rescuing strangers from floodwater. They were about communities sharing generators, food, and water. They were about ordinary Texans helping each other survive. That's the reality of disaster survival. It's not about being a lone wolf stockpiling in isolation. It's about being prepared, capable, and connected to the people around you. Let's talk about something that gets people killed every single year: underestimating the storm. It's human nature to think you'll be fine because you survived the last hurricane, or because your house is solid, or because you don't want to leave your possessions. But hurricanes don't care about your past experiences or your confidence. They don't negotiate. When officials issue an evacuation order, they're not doing it casually. They're doing it because the data shows your life is in danger. And when they tell you it's mandatory and you choose to stay, you're gambling with your life and the lives of first responders who will risk everything to save you. Storm surge can rise 15 to 20 feet in a matter of hours. It doesn't creep up slowly. It comes in fast, violent, and unstoppable. Once it starts, you can't outrun it. You can't swim through it. You can't climb to safety fast enough. Water has immense power. Just 6 inches of moving water can knock an adult off their feet. 12 inches can sweep a car away. 15 feet can swallow a house. And it's not just water. It's contaminated with sewage, chemicals, fuel, and debris. Sharp metal, broken glass, submerged vehicles. People drown. People get impaled. People get crushed. This isn't theoretical. This is what happens every time a major hurricane hits the coast and people ignore evacuation orders. Now let's address the aftermath, because surviving the hurricane itself is only the beginning. After the winds die and the rain stops, you're facing a disaster zone. Flooding can linger for days or weeks. Power can be out for a month or longer in rural areas. Roads are blocked by downed trees, power lines, and debris. Water systems are contaminated. Sewage treatment plants are offline. This is when your preparation truly shows its value. You have water while others are desperate, fighting for bottles at distribution centers. You have food while others are standing in line for hours to get MREs from FEMA. You have power to keep cool, stay connected, and maintain some normalcy while others sit in the dark, sweating and isolated. But the aftermath brings new dangers you need to navigate. Downed power lines are everywhere, and you have to assume every single wire is live and deadly. Don't go near them. Don't drive over them. Don't try to move them. Call the power company and report them. Floodwater is another killer after the storm passes. Never walk or drive through floodwater. It only takes 6 inches to knock you down and 12 inches to float your vehicle away. And floodwater isn't just water. It's a toxic soup of sewage, chemicals, gasoline, pesticides, and bacteria. It causes serious infections, dysentery, and diseases like leptospirosis. If you come into contact with it, wash thoroughly with clean water and soap immediately. Mold becomes a massive problem in Texas humidity after a hurricane. It starts growing within 24 to 48 hours on wet materials, and it destroys homes and health. Mold causes respiratory problems, allergic reactions, asthma attacks, and long-term health issues. You have to act fast. Dry out your home as quickly as possible using fans, dehumidifiers, and open windows when weather permits. Remove wet materials immediately: soaked drywall, insulation, carpets, furniture, mattresses. Don't try to save them. Mold-contaminated materials need to be thrown out. Document everything with photos before you start cleanup for insurance purposes. Here's another harsh reality. Criminals and scammers show up after every major disaster. Fake contractors knock on doors offering to repair roofs, fix homes, or remove trees. They demand payment up front, do shoddy work or no work at all, then disappear. Price gouging happens on fuel, water, food, and supplies. Stores triple their prices because they know people are desperate. Looting increases in evacuated neighborhoods. You need to protect yourself from these predators, just like you protect yourself from the storm. Always verify contractors. Get multiple quotes. Check licenses and references. Never pay the full amount up front. Pay in stages as work is completed. Report price gouging to the Texas Attorney General's office. It's illegal, and they prosecute it. If you evacuate, ask trusted neighbors or police to keep an eye on your property. Install security cameras if possible. Document everything you own with photos and serial numbers, so if theft occurs, you can prove it to police and insurance. The emotional and psychological toll of surviving a hurricane is real and lasting. It's traumatic to watch your home flood, to hear 130 mph winds tearing your roof apart, to lose everything you own, to see your neighborhood destroyed, to wonder if you're going to die. Post-traumatic stress is common after major disasters. Anxiety, depression, nightmares, hypervigilance, these are normal responses to abnormal situations. Don't minimize them. Don't tell yourself to just be tough and get over it. Take care of your family's mental health, just like you take care of their physical health. Talk about what happened. Let people express their feelings. Seek professional help if needed. Disaster relief organizations and mental health services offer free counseling after major hurricanes. Join support groups with other survivors. You're not alone in what you're feeling. Children especially need reassurance, routine, and stability after a disaster. They need to know they're safe, that you're there for them, and that things will get better. Be patient. Be present. Recovery isn't just about rebuilding houses. It's about rebuilding lives. One final critical point that can make or break your financial future: insurance. Review your policies right now before hurricane season starts. Standard homeowners insurance covers wind damage but does not cover flooding. You need separate flood insurance, and it takes 30 days to go into effect after purchase. If you're in a flood zone and you don't have flood insurance, you're gambling with everything you've worked for your entire life. A single hurricane can destroy decades of savings. Your home, your possessions, your financial security, gone. FEMA assistance after disasters is limited. It typically covers only basic repairs and temporary housing, and it's not guaranteed. Insurance is your real safety net. Document everything you own now while it's intact. Take photos and videos of every room, every valuable item, every improvement you've made to your home. Keep receipts for major purchases. Know what your policy covers and what it doesn't. Understand your deductible. If a storm is approaching and you haven't secured flood insurance, it's too late. Companies won't sell you a policy once a storm is named and tracking toward your area. So here we are. You now have the complete 30-day preparation timeline that separates survivors from victims. Water storage and food supplies, power and communication systems, home fortification and safe room preparation, medical readiness and sanitation, vehicle preparation and evacuation planning, financial readiness and document protection, pet preparation and neighborhood coordination. This isn't theory or speculation. This is proven, practical, life-saving knowledge drawn from real hurricanes and real survivors. The families who made it through Harvey, Ike, Rita, and Laura, with their lives intact and their families safe, did so because they prepared. They didn't wait until the storm formed. They didn't hope for the best. They took action weeks and months before the threat materialized. They invested time, money, and effort into readiness. And when disaster struck, that preparation saved them. Now it's your turn. Hurricane season is coming. The Gulf of Mexico is warming. The storms are intensifying. Texas will get hit again. It's not if, it's when, and it's how prepared you'll be when it happens. You can sit there hoping you'll get lucky, or you can take the next 30 days and prepare like your life and your family's lives depend on it. Because they do. Don't just watch this video and move on with your day. Take action today. Start your water storage today. Buy your generator today. Review your insurance today. Create your evacuation plan today. And if you want to go deeper, you'll find in the pinned comment some guides and documents that can take your preparedness to the next level. Check them out when you're ready. If this information hit you the way it should, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video with your family, your friends, your coworkers, your neighbors. Someone's life could depend on them seeing this before the next storm forms in the Gulf. Comment below and tell me where you are in your hurricane preparation. Are you fully ready, or are you just starting? What's the biggest challenge you're facing in getting prepared? Like this video so the algorithm pushes it to more people who need to see it. Subscribe to this channel if you're serious about survival and preparedness, because I'm not here to entertain you with hypotheticals and doomsday fantasies. I'm here to give you the real, practical, actionable knowledge that keeps you alive when disaster strikes and everyone around you is panicking. The storm is coming. The question is simple. Will you be ready?